Alright, so did you get autofilled to support?
Uh-huh.
Alright, so those are the two games we watched last time. You have 10 and 5, 7 and 5, and 10 and 6. Let's just watch your most recent game. Yeah, and I'll screen share as soon as it comes up.
I played pretty poorly this game.
Let's go, replay, let's go. Alright, so like you mentioned, you kind of like raged this morning, right? Or you just kind of like took a break for a while?
All day.
Yeah,
I
all
came
day.
back and I was like, there's just a lack of intensity tonight.
Alright, so
The
pretty
last
much
game made me rage.
thing you have to learn about like taking breaks. So like taking breaks is good when you're tilted, but note that it's more of like a band-aid, right? So if it's happening to you on a consistent basis, then like you need to find the root cause of like why you're tilting. And I don't know why that replay did not launch. Right, please.
Probably because I've lost 15 games in a row or something.
Yeah, but like for instance, like just because you lose a lot, like what basically let's try and figure out like why you're actually like raging. So is it just off of losing, or is it because you're playing poorly while you're losing?
Uh, Not really, man. Because the game's like, with the exception of my last Ari game, like top was pretty much a wash every time I play it. But I mean,
Yeah, so you also been mentioning that you may consider swapping roles from top lane.
yeah, I don't know. No idea what else I might play. Or I might just play Ari only. Just play Ari top.
I do that sometimes. That's not that bad. She beats melee champions, so
Yeah, it works out a lot.
it works out. So yeah, it depends. Like, do you like top lane at all, or?
I don't know, man. I just want to win. Like that's the biggest thing is like I go top and it's like I have like a 20% chance of winning regardless of what champion I play. Like even if I play potato like Malphite, I still get shit on and
You play the true potato top laner known as Pantheon. Never
yeah.
lose lane again. You think I'm joking, but you can't lose lane as Ignite Pantheon. It can't be done. There are no skill shots to miss.
Yeah. No, man, I just got like there was a bunch of stuff that happened today. Like that's been happening like the last couple days that just really fucking ruined my mood. Like I'll set up these like beautiful uh like stacked waves where we could just dive them and like basically don't even have to land skill shots. You know, they're at 100 health and I spam ping my jungler and they just fucking ignore me.
Yeah. Okay, so that trade was kind of like a best of a bad scenario.
Was it the
Uh,
one with the three minions on the side?
y-
Yeah.
yeah, this when like basically when when you get caught out like this is just really bad for you, where you're forced to step back into the E. This is just good E placement by the Lux, and you get screwed by having to tank the wave. It's smart that you just decided to trade back onto her. But also sucks that you missed all the minions. But basically, it just happened just because of trying to step up while the minions were stacked up like that. That's all.
Yeah.
And it's just got punished a little bit more because Lux's, uh, E autos are so powerful.
Yeah, it's not something you just want to eat to get away from the minions.
Yeah, you can't eat it. So
Plus it procs Thunderlords.
yeah, that's the why it's so strong. So it's proccing Thunderlords are passive and getting hit by E damage. So it's quite a lot. Let's see here. So this Lux took heal. Pretty suboptimal. If I were here, probably would have taken cleanse or barrier.
See, I mean,
Alright,
like
so
just lazy. Like I'm just standing in the
yeah,
minions.
yeah. So right here, you're actually just like really lazy laning, where like yeah, you're not only standing in the minions, but then you're just taking really bad like auto trades with her, where like you're just in her E auto range. It's so like when you turn around to trade on her like that, that's really bad for you just because you get hit by her auto attack. It doesn't matter how much damage you put back on her, you're never gonna win to the auto attack damage plus the proc from the passive plus the Thunderlords, right? Like you won't be able to dish out that much damage in the time it takes for her to auto.
Right.
So the best move when playing against Lux is to just get hit by an isolated E. Like if you're getting a hit by the E because it's pretty much not dodgeable in a sense, like it's not dodgeable.
Yeah, it
So
moves so fast.
if she's in basically if she's in medium range to you, like if she's not at complete max range, you can't dodge it. It's just too big of a skill shot radius and too long of a range. So basically, you just have to like you. It's not going to do that much damage as long as you're not getting hit by autos.
Right.
So if you're ever playing against the Lux, just make sure that you only get hit by E's, but never the auto attack follow up, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah, like I said, I just felt like a zombie. I'm
Yeah.
pretty tired, and yep.
Yeah. So that's yeah. Laning's like really sloppy this game.
Just base because I don't want to get level 6 and ulted.
No, like the base was good, but basically you're just getting hit by way too many auto attacks. That's what it's really coming down to.
Yeah. Like this is like my autopilot. Like it's just
Yeah.
straight up 100% autopilot, and I'm just like it's gotten a lot better. I mean,
Yeah.
like
I'm wondering like what kind of like mentality like creates your autopilot? Like why do you autopilot this hard? Like is it just
uh,
because you're tired are you autopiloting? I feel like this is like too much of an extreme in like your playstyle changing.
yeah, I don't know.
Like I think what's important is to figure out like why this happens because this is like a drastic change to how you were playing like 2 days ago.
Yeah, it went from playing like, you know,
Yeah, you're playing really well like textbook and now you're just
blah.
walking up to yeah.
Yeah, and like right there, like I tried to flash charm because I wanted
Yeah.
it, and he was gonna follow up, but like I hit E, and I guess the time that it took, I couldn't, like I physically couldn't fucking flash charm, and it happens to me like 4 times this game.
Mm.
You'll see these like random fucking charms come out, and I'll be like, oh, it's another flash charm. I don't know. I don't know why I'm autopiloting.
Are
Just
you
feel
like
like
eating
really.
before playing?
Uh, I just ate. Like I worked all day, and then
Yeah, you worked all day and then you had food. Like,
I
did you
just
like
ate
have food
like right
recently?
now,
Yeah. Okay.
like in the last 5 minutes.
Okay. No, I meant like before playing. Like,
Oh,
did
I
you come
haven't.
home and have food before playing?
No.
That's something you might consider, like a snack of some kind, but like a high energy snack.
Yeah, that was supposed to be a flash charm.
Yeah, I can see it. Oh, you don't keep
Uh,
chasing it.
and then
Okay.
I'm like, fuck
Yeah,
it.
so you had to blow flash there where you could have just chased. Um, basically, one thing that helps with focus is just having like food in you for energy purposes because when you get low blood sugar or whatever, then it's just harder to concentrate. It might help with your autopiloting. I know it does for me. Like if I don't eat before playing, then I just potato.
Yeah,
But of course, my potato is a little bit better.
yeah. Which
Um,
I'm glad to see that my potato has improved, but
yeah, it's still
it's not good enough.
yeah, not really good enough here. So you're still like 2-0, but you should have been able to crush the laning phase here instead of just kind of getting bullied by a Lux, which should never happen to an Ari.
Yeah.
Okay, so good dodges there. See if this could have gone a little bit better. I feel like you played it appropriately, but
She's heal and flash.
yeah, she's healing flash. Let's just see. So boom, good dodge.
Oh, like you couldn't come back, or else I would have ate the laser.
Yeah, let's watch
I wonder if
this.
I could have eaten it.
I think no, I don't think you could have eaten the laser because you would have eaten the laser plus an auto attack. I think it comes down to right here. I think it's this ulti charge. I
Oh,
think
the
it's
point
that one.
blank. She healed
Yeah, the
it.
point. Yeah, I think it's the point blank that screws you over because you don't have a second one.
Yeah. If I would have had
And
another one.
yeah, you could have. Yeah, if you had a second one, you could have just boom. You could have dragged it down like right here and then hit it.
Yep. I know.
I
If
think
I
I think
should've-
it was kind of the waste of the point blank one. I
Yeah.
think that's what did it. Also, I think he could have gone down to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, I think he could have dodged this down, although I don't think it would have made a difference. Yeah, it wouldn't have made a difference. Yeah, I think it's just really wasting the ulti charge for the point blank, which, yeah, I think that's what it was. One sec. Did I check something?
I have like a lot of self-fulfilling prophecies too. Like when I'm just in a bad mental state, I'm like, oh look,
Ah,
Lucian's ahead. We're gonna find a way to throw this game.
I,
And it's just like the shit follows. It like just flows through my head.
hmm. Yeah, for you, I've always thought that it like wasn't really much of your gameplay. It's more so your mentality that needs to be fixed. I'm not a particular expert, I'm not like a psychologist or anything, so I can only really help you with your gameplay and tell you from my own experiences. But you definitely have trouble with that. Like one, staying focused and autopiloting, and two, you have trouble just like staying positive, which is of course everyone has trouble doing that. But
Yeah,
if you like your goal is as serious as yours, where you're just looking to like win and improve, then it like you shouldn't be catering towards individual wins and losses. Um, you should simply just be playing for like the longer term goal of like playing League of Legends and improving, right? Like that's why you want to play.
yeah,
And so I think a lot of the times, like you forget what your goal is, and you just get caught up in like you get caught up in the specific game.
yeah. It definitely happens, and then it's like when I go from being in my series the Plat 1 to tanking all the
Yeah,
way to almost Plat 3-0 LP. Like I'm just like fuck. I'm like, everything I did was like for nothing. Like it makes me feel
yeah.
like all the games that I just played were a complete fluke. And then
No, and it's natural to feel that way.
it's like, oh look, I got really lucky, won 20 games in a row, and now I'm losing 20 in a row. When like, dude, the way I was playing fucking last weekend was like out of like insane.
yeah, you're playing really, really well for sure. And it's just trying to figure out like how to get that to be more consistent. So I'm just watching, like I'm watching your gameplay, but I think the biggest thing is figuring out you lose this game even though it's 17-8.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
And you have a better team comp too.
yeah, this Riven does a great job split pushing, and Shen is just kind of like a fucking retard. He's just like 100% potato.
Yeah, Shen should never lose to Ruin.
Oh, he doesn't
Shen
lose
should.
lane, but he just makes like here I'm just like
Uh,
fuck it.
yeah, you're really tilted this game. Like basically, this is a mistake that I mentioned last time, but I'll show it to you again, just so that it gets like reiterated. But this is the
Max range charm.
yeah Emax range charm again. There's no reason not to just spear rush twice into his face and kill him with and
Yeah.
then charm him, right?
Yeah, well, I was
There was
like,
no reason not to just spirit rush in and
yeah,
then look for your charm.
absolutely. Like, I completely agree with you. And then, like, that's why I was like, fuck, I should have just spirit rushed at him and, like, gone in. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
hesitating and, like, playing slow. Like, my brain's moving slow. I can't flash charm. It's like, I don't know. It's like being two different people.
Yeah, it's very strange actually.
And he does that shit. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Nothing much. I mean, yeah. Shen's not the highest burst champion.
Yeah.
Okay, so build wise, what do you think you're going this game?
I went full damage. No.
Yeah.
So I went Morello's into Deathcap,
Okay.
into Rylai's, and
Okay.
then Luden's. And the only reason I didn't go any pen is because Janna has an Aegis, and that's about it. Everybody else is squishy.
Yep.
But, like, I just fucking. I mean, I could have won the game if I would have went bot at the last team fight, but I was like, we have Baron. Like, we can just walk down mid and kill the Nexus. And I spam pinged until it wouldn't let me ping anymore, and they all went to save a Shen, who could have just, like, left. Yeah, this is really frustrating. This fucking Riven.
Ah. She lives a really long time there because of all the shields.
Yeah.
Let's watch this.
Like, I didn't want to ignite her, but I should just fucking ignited her.
And you also could have blown charm earlier too.
Yeah, well, I thought RW would kill her, and then she like walked in the bush and got a bunch of shields, and
Yeah.
it was just like, uh,
Mm. FYI, I would have gone Luden second here.
I want Rallies to like kite for my team and to chase down the Ezreal, but
Yeah.
hindsight,
I don't think you really need the rallies here. When you look at how squishy everyone is on their team, I don't really think like the rallies is like a requirement. I think you have so many people you can one shot. Like you can one shot the Teemo, the Janna, the Ezreal, and the Lux. That I feel like, and you guys have a particularly good team composition, and you have a Shen ultimate for you. I feel like you don't necessarily need the rallies early. I think rallies is like good for like the late game here because I don't think you need a Zanyas or anything like that. But yeah, I think in terms of like optimal, I would have gone Ludens into Deathcap this game, and just
okay.
look to just
They went
one shot someone because there's so like basically in a game like this, you can one shot the Lux, you can one shot the Ezreal, the Teemo, and the Janna. So it means at any point in time in the game, you could potentially just pick someone for an objective, right? But if you're going like rallies, rallies is more like a team fight item, right?
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's more of like a team fight kite item, but that's not necessarily what you guys are doing in team fights. Look at your composition. You guys aren't kiting.
The other
Going
thing is
in.
we're not fighting. Like
Right?
look at where fucking Shen's at right now.
Yeah, your Gragas is slow pushing top.
Yep.
Oh,
And then oh cool, we're in a fucking choke point. Like, let's.
all right. Oh, okay, that team fight. I think you could have played this team fight way more aggressively.
Oh, 100%.
All right, so
Miss my charm on a
yeah,
stun target.
yeah, Charm was a bit lazy. So here's like there's two options. So one right here, you can go on the Ezreal, or you can just finish off the Lux.
Yeah.
All right, so you choose to go on Ezreal, which is fine. And then right here, this is when I would have. You see this? This is when I would have flash art over the wall to kill Ezreal.
Oh, I didn't realize I
Or
had flash.
yeah, or you could have just art towards Lux and killed her. Like either way. But I definitely would have flashed art over the wall.
Yeah. I was kind of hesitant about it because I didn't have vision right there. So I couldn't see Lux or Ezreal, and I was like, well, if I go over the wall, I'm probably just
All
gonna get
the
fucking
thing you have to
snared.
look about is like you would have killed Ezreal immediately, and then Lux has really long cooldowns,
Mhm.
right? So like the likelihood that her Q and her E were up at the same time was off, and if you get hit by one of them, you're not dead. So,
Yeah.
and then basically if your charms up, you'll kill her if it lands. So yeah, so there I definitely would have just like you're underestimating like how squishy they really are. Like they're really squishy on the other team.
Yeah. And I guess part of it is like every time I go after somebody, they get 40 shields, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, they do have a lot of shields.
It's annoying as fuck. Yeah, but like all of them should have been down right there. It's just I'm not.
Oh,
My brain's not like active
boom.
enough.
There we go. Killer, killer, killer. Ah.
See what I mean?
Yeah, she just barely gets away. But that's the difference in your build.
Ludens would have killed her.
If, yeah, you would have Ludens complete right now compared to Deathcap.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's funny. Like a lot of the games that we've reviewed. Like even though I'm playing like shit this game,
Yeah. Oh,
it comes down to item choice.
yeah, it's like, it's really weird on Ari because, like, she has so many, like, item choices and item options. And just even, like, variants for the build. Like, I wouldn't go a high CDR build this game. Like, 20% is fine. Right?
Yep, that's what I'm figuring. I'm just gonna nuke somebody and then I'm out.
Yeah, like this is a game where I would potentially go like, this is a game where I would consider Protobelt. Because it gives you a lot of what you want in the late game. Because like 10% CDR is nice, but then it gives you burst in health, and that's like you don't really need the rallies in a sense in this particular game. Like slowing down the Lux in the team mode doesn't do anything. Even the Riven, right? Like slowing the Riven down, she's gonna be using E and Q regardless. Like it's not, and your team comp's not really like kitey in a sense. Like they just go in. So like, I would have probably gone like Ludens into Void Staff, Protobelt. That would have been my build this game.
The other thing
And
that's happening.
that would have just let you fucking obliterate someone.
Yeah. The other problem is here. I'm like afraid of getting outplayed.
Oh wow. Yeah, you don't like commit to R-ing there, like quickly at all. R one more
Yeah.
time. Oh. Yeah. What?
Look at this shit.
You get really scared. You get really scared.
Yeah, because Riven's gonna flash. Or I thought she was gonna flash. I don't know what her cooldowns are. So yeah, she died. Lux dies.
Yeah, you see her prepping her Q, so you're like, oh, she's flashing. But you hit the
Yeah.
charm here, right?
Yep.
And even if she's gonna flash, like you have your Q off CD, you just don't use it on her.
What? What am I doing with my life?
Yeah, you just kind of like let her live there.
I feel like
You're like overly scared this game, despite how like strong you are. Like you're well within range to just completely one shot someone, even the Riven.
yeah.
Okay, so you guys get Baron. The game should be pretty much yours at this point. So I like the Ludens. This is the build that I would have gone for, and then I would have gone Void next, just because people are getting small amounts of MR.
Yeah.
I put it potentially on Protobelt as well, but I think Void just fits more nicely.
This Lucian likes to dash forward.
Alright. Yeah. She's got
It's like
that
my-
rapid fire cannon for extra pick potential. Which is a smart choice by him. He didn't need the PD this game. Yeah, look at your damage output on that Lux. Like, it's so massive.
Yeah, and like right here is like where I'm like kind
Shen
of starting
needs
to wake
TP
up.
back to base.
Yeah. He's like, nah, fuck it. He just stays here. I'm like, dude. He's like,
Yeah,
we're
he
gonna,
needed to
I
go
could have got
back.
this by myself.
Yeah.
And Leona
You pretty
just,
much do, because he doesn't help.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then he TP's bot. All right, so like here, I like blink and it's over. Like I don't even see the Lux Q hit me because there's so much shit going on.
This is just an overcommittal. Like you can take this tower and then, yeah, I can see how you don't see that.
Yeah, like
Even I
there's
didn't
just so
see it
much
at
shit.
first. Yeah. The thing you have to note about this is like this is unnecessary. Like you guys can take that bot tier 2 whenever, and you guys are low. Gragas isn't there. Lucian isn't there. Riven's gonna TP in when she spawns.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see here.
I baited myself by landing charm on Janna.
Yeah.
So there's the Q here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's what happens. The animation gets hidden by the tower.
Oh, that's fucking gay.
Yeah, it passes through the tower.
Is
It
that
kind
what-
of bugs, honestly. Yeah.
I would have spirit rushed it.
Yeah. Oh, we'll watch it again in slow mo, but you'll see. All right. So here, watch. See,
Oh, yep.
it cuts your vision, so there's no way to react to that. All right. So there, that was just kind of like that was a really greedy objective play by you guys. So it could have worked out. Like you guys could have gone the tower and then gotten out, but it's just one of those things where it's just like, wow, that's like bound to happen, right? That's just a pretty natural overstay.
Yeah, like I was like, what the fuck? And like, I'm not thinking enough to just leave the fucking idiot there. Like he
Yeah.
based and teleported back in, so now he loses. Like now Riven can split on us because he TP'd for no fucking reason.
Yeah. All right. So this is where kind of like the build is a little bit wrong, like where where the Luden's extra burst could be really helpful.
Yeah. Yep. Would you go Ludens before Deathcap?
Yeah, I would have gone Luden's for Death Cap. Basically, the way Luden's works is you either get it first or second,
Dude.
or it's
Watch
not
this
as much,
shit.
or it doesn't do as much damage as Death Cap. Okay, that's just really random. I can't even blame you for that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even know which way she came in. Like it was just super.
She hopped the wall and came through try.
Yeah.
It's just
Wow.
really weird. But yeah, so in terms of like math for Ludens versus Deathcap, Ludens is always worse than Deathcap. Depending on champion, of course, but if you're just looking for like raw damage output and you're not like hyper synergized with the Ludens proc,
Hmm.
The Ludens will outdamage death cap on 1 and 2 AP items, and then nothing after that. It won't outdamage death cap.
But it makes death
Meaning
cap
that,
scale harder though, right?
yeah, death cap scales harder. Meaning that, like, um, you can have a Ludens after a death cap as long as it's, and it will do, like, that's optimal for you as long, yeah. Basically, is if it's slot 1 and 2 in your build, Ludens is more damage than
Hmm.
death cap. If it's not, then always pick up the death cap over the Ludens.
So I should
And
start
then you,
running Ludens over death cap if I'm ahead. Like I was
yeah.
6-1
Well,
or something.
if they have people that are squishy,
Okay.
right? If you have like an abundance of players, like 2 to 3 players that you can like pop, and you know you can do it on a consistent basis, and you pick up the Ludens. If it's a scenario where like you just there's no one to pop on the other team, then just grab the death cap because you're not going to be one rotationing people.
Yeah.
So
So that'll be
basically,
like a
the
Morello's
Ludens
death cap
math,
void
yeah, the
then.
Ludens math comes out only for one rotation.
Hmm.
That is doing more damage. The more rotations, the less damage it does. Even if Ari is able to proc it more and more often, just because high mobility. Um, yeah. Boop. Okay, not bad. Just note how like the rally's slow, like it really doesn't affect Riven that
Riven.
much.
Yeah, especially when she's got a Mercurial.
Yeah. Alright, so you guys get this Baron. I'm curious as to how this gets lost.
Uh,
Gragas is over the wall. No, just defend your base team. Raven even gets a GA. This is when, yeah, Void would have been nice here actually.
I didn't. Yeah, see, like,
Yeah, this is where your build kind of gets off because you can't fit the Void in nicely.
yep. Yeah, so like I tried to think about what you said last game and I just
Hmm.
misjudged it. I was like, well, the only one with fucking MR, and at the point I looked at it, like I never looked back at it, but I looked at John. I was
Yeah,
like, oh, Aegis. But now that I look at it, there's a Merc, there's a GA, there's a fucking ZZ thing.
yeah. Even the Wits End has MR on it, right?
Yeah, so there's actually a lot of MR. So it's just
Yeah,
like,
there's quite a bit of MR.
so here's where I lost the game.
Ah,
So like,
this is a habit. This is something I want you to remember. You have a habit of split pushing at the wrong time during the mid to late game. Like, and this is probably the thing that throws most of your leads. This right here, like when you're strong and your team comp's a group team comp, you tend to not do it. So even though you're right in just saying like, hey guys, like let's walk it down mid for the free inhibitor.
yeah.
This is just you not paying attention to the mini map.
No,
And
I was watching it and
oh,
I was
you made
like,
the conscious decision to push to, yeah.
yeah, I was like, fuck this. Like, we have Baron. Like, I'm just gonna go fucking take their base.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, I don't know. I used all my ping saying assist me, so I couldn't back ping him. It was really,
This is one of those things where like I can't even blame you for that call because it's just like wow, like free inhibitor, how can you give that up? But the bigger issue, oh my god, she lives.
yep.
That's the difference between not having void, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, I am so fucking tilted at this point. Like after, like
Yeah.
the Jana thing is like what just ended it for me.
All right. So realistically, here's what it is. In the mid to late game scenario, when you're a group team fighting comp, you just need to be with your team. You just need to.
Okay.
You guys would not have lost a team fight
No, hundred
against that
percent.
composition ever. Like, and look at the Lux. Look how easy in the Ezreal. So easy for you to just kill them with your build. And they don't even have a tank. Like you guys could just easily just, like I said, whoever you charm in these compositions just dies, and that's why you don't need, like, you just need to pop people.
Yeah.
So the difference between like basically the scenario you had last time we talked and this time, between the Ludens and the Rallies is, in your other composition you were on the other team comp. You were the Ezreal Janna, right? The
Right.
Ezreal Janna that's backing off, and then the other team had the tank, like had the tanks, or not the tanks, but the other team had the skirmish team comp, right? And so all you needed to do was kite backwards with your team. But note the difference in team comp this time when the other team is squishy. your team comp is a go in team composition, right? You won't be kiting backwards, so you won't be making use of the slow,
Right.
right? So that's really that's really the difference. Put in a similar scenario where the other team's just really squishy. It just so happens that in this particular case, you have a pit composition instead of a peel back, a kite one, and that's just something you had to kind of realize a little bit, and that's why your build would change into a more pick oriented build.
Yeah.
So note that the rallies is a kiting team fight item. That's kind of like its strength. It makes you tankier, and it just provides a lot of slows for your team to work off of. But note why like your team doesn't need a slow.
Yeah. We have so
Like and,
much
yeah,
engage. I
you
mean,
guys
like
have
she
so
could
much
solar
engage.
flare. Really.
Yeah, you have Solar Flare, you have Shen Taunt, you have Gragas CC, right? And the entire other team is like susceptible to just getting one hit off of anything, right? Any piece of CC that lands on them, they get one hit
Yep.
by you, and that's why like your team needed you to be able to do that for them. Look what happens to your composition when you're not around. So it's like let's just like pretend it's just these four, right?
Yeah.
No damage. When people get CC'd, the only thing that's going to happen is Lucian's going to pop forward and try and pop them.
Yeah.
But look at these champions. Lucian's not going to be able to pop through Janna, Ezreal, like random blind from Teemo, right? The shields from Lux. Like, Lucian can't do it on his own when people get CC'd. He's going to be, don't get me wrong, like, he's going to dash in there and do a good bit of burst, right? But
Yeah.
he doesn't have the same kind of burst and damage output that, like, a mage does, right? And so, like, the difference is when someone gets hit by a solar flare and you're around, when both you and Lucian dash forward, they die instantly. And then you guys just keep moving forward together with high mobility, chasing down, and whichever target gets CC'd, you both burst them and they die. Like, that's how your comp works. Your comp is, like, a beast. Like, that's some fucking, like, god
It's
comp for solo queue. And all you guys need to do is just run forward as a team. Whoever you don't have to even dive the back line. Just whoever gets hit by random CC, be it yours or one of your three other teammates that all have massive amounts of CC, you just lock it down and kill it.
yep.
Because none of them are tank.
Hmm.
None of so that's all you had to do there. And so that's where I'm kind of seeing where like you're split pushing, which is keeping your CS like high or relatively high. It should be much higher in a game like this. It should be around ribbons.
Yeah.
Um, so I think the biggest thing, like I said, for your mid game is just you tend to split push when your composition demands you to be grouped.
Right.
And then something weird happens that, to be honest, like, okay, they shouldn't have gotten caught in bot lane and they shouldn't have fought. And yeah, it's the right call to just take the inhibitor, but then again, you got to remember it's solo queue. And there's no way to like ignore chaos. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't just say like, wow, like what idiots, like, next game I make the same decision, it turns out well. Like, no. Even though, like, let's say, like, strategically, yeah, it's the right call for you to just abandon the Shen and take the inhib. Totally the right call. Like, Shen for inhib, great deal, right? But
Yeah.
that's not gonna happen.
Even if they get the Elder Drake, like who cares? Like I was
Yeah,
like our
it
team
doesn't
comp,
matter.
like even if they have Elder, they can't fucking win against us, and we could have just walked down mid and ended the game.
Yeah, you could totally just walk down mid end of the game, and that's what should have happened. And that's like technically the correct strategical play. But here's where you have to like put it into perspective and say like, what's the right solo queue play? And the right solo queue play is to just have to babysit your team. And basically, it's not even technically your team's fault in a sense because you're thrown into a scenario where people aren't able to communicate, but then they have to coordinate,
Right.
right? So you can't coordinate without voice comms and say like, Shen, try and get out. I'm gonna push middle and take the inhibitor for free. Because guess what? If you had said that, everyone would have been like, nice call.
Yeah.
Like everyone would have been like, yeah, that's a nice call, take the inhib. And then everyone would have abandoned Shen. But because you can't communicate that in solo queue, you always have to make calls that are easiest to follow. Do you know what the easiest type of team comms to execute in solo queue?
Wombo
It's just team,
combos.
yeah, it's just wombos. It's teams that just group as five and walk it down mid. Why? Because everyone knows. The other type of composition that is reflected in 80 carry win rates is protect the carry. Everyone knows what to do and protect the carry compositions. When you get a Kog'Maw on the other team and you're like Lulu and stuff like that, when you get like Lulu or like let's say like Braum support, right?
Yeah.
And then Kog'Maw, and then you get a wave clear mid and just two tanks, everyone knows what to do in that, right? Everyone knows just sit back, protect the Kog'Maw, right? And so like it's just really easy to execute. And that's why whenever there's really easy to execute champions, they do really well in solo queue, right?
Right.
And then you take it further, really easy to execute team compositions do really well in solo queue. Um, and so basically when you have a team comp like yours, where you can do some fancy stuff with, Shen ulting onto Ari, diving the back line with the shield. You can do some fancy shit doing that, unless you actually are in voice comms with the Shen, is wrong, and you should simply just do the easiest option, which is just mow them down because you have better team fight. Like your team comp can do some pretty nice things by setting up some vision traps and looking for picks, going for flanks. You can do a lot of things with that comp because it's a really good comp. But at the end of the day, don't try and do those things.
Yeah. Just fucking run it down mid.
Yeah, just run it run it down mid essentially. But basically, this is just one of the things where like, even though that stuff you can do, you just need to group with your team and just team fight the other team if they're willing to do that because they were, they were totally willing to team fight you guys despite just not, they were not gonna win, and they won off making a bad call. Like the bad call was to randomly chase the Shen at bottom, right? For two reasons. One, if you guys were in Voice comms, they were just lost in hip. And then the second reason was if a team fight actually broke out like it did. We'll actually see if we can. Well, actually, I can't watch the last team fight, but we'll go through another replay. Like I said, um, if a team fight were to break out and you were around, they would have just gotten popped and died.
Yeah, they would have got shit on. Not like.
So, which one's a better game? The 7 and 5 or the 10 and 5?
7 and 5 is the intentionally feeding Kog'Maw. 10 and 5 I thought you already watched. No, 10 and 5 is the AFK with the Karma. Like that game was over and then she quit and then we
Okay,
lost.
so let's watch this one.
Which one is this? The Kog'Maw?
Yeah, this is the common one. This is the Kaufman game. We'll still see it just because it's better than someone leaving. At least I'll be able to see your laning phase a little bit more.
Oh man, it sucked. I hate laning against
yeah,
Yasuo.
so- Yeah, it's a pain. I, I, yeah, I hate the matchup. I laned against, do you know who,
Arc data?
what's this? No, the NA Yasuo player. What's his name?
Best Yasuo NA? It's something like that, isn't it?
It's like, I forget his name. I forget what he goes by now. But yeah, because he changes his name all the time. He's a Yasuo booster. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think I've seen him on OP.GG
Yeah,
or something.
QQ, like the QQ Yasuo player.
Yeah.
Yeah, him. Anyway, so I'm like mortal enemies with him. And I remember solo killing him as Ari and just shit talking him. And he's like, Yasuo is the worst champion in League right now, right? And I'm like,
What?
hello? Are we playing the same game right now? Yasuo, worst champion in like League of Legends?
It doesn't
He's like,
matter.
he's just like, you're just a fucking TF1 trick. And I'm like, yeah, but I just solo killed you on Ari.
Yeah, like if Ari solo kills Yasuo, you should just fucking uninstall the game. You should
Yeah.
literally just AFK the rest of the game because it doesn't matter
He
if
died
you
at
win.
level 3. He's a dumb
Would
person.
he fucking did he dash into the tower or some shit?
I stepped forward, yeah. Because basically the way Yasuo dash works is it's a set distance.
Mm-hmm.
It's a set distance from when it's used. So I basically stepped forward to make him dash through me and then flashed backwards and charmed him. And then he got charmed in the tower and died.
That's pretty dirty. I'll have to remember that trick.
Yeah. It was like, it's not something I even planned. It's just like, oh, this might be cool. 'Cause like I said, me and him are mortal enemies. Because he absolutely detests Twisted Fate. He just thinks it's the most busted champion in all of League. I I I can't like disagree, but it's whatever. He plays
He plays
Yasuo.
Yasuo, dude. He has. You know, Windwall wouldn't be that bad if it didn't block fucking skill shots from the backside.
Yeah.
Like it would actually take skill to fucking use it. I took a horrible trade right here.
Okay. Let's watch this trade again. So here's the thing. When Yasuo's trade like this is really bad for them. You can really abuse someone who does this. So boom, this is where you get scared where you shouldn't have. Okay.
Hmm.
See all these casters? Like you have caster advantage and minion wave that's coming. So even though like it's scary when he E's you like that, you don't have to be scared. You can stand in the minion wave and then hit a charm on him pretty easily.
Cool.
Do you have armor?
Uh, I want to say I do.
Yeah, you do. Uh,
Maybe
he
he crit
doesn't know
me.
how to cog jungle. He didn't start red side.
Yeah, he's a fucking idiot.
Kog'Maw needs to start red side to jungle. He needs the Gromp, not the Gromp, the Krugs proc.
Yeah, stun stuff. Yeah, see, look at
Yeah,
that shit. Why the?
yeah.
That's so
It
fucking
blocks the
busted.
reverse.
Yeah.
Windwall's one of the most broken abilities in the game, for sure. It reminds me that and Graves Smokescreen. Don't remind me that they're basic abilities. When I think both Smokescreen and Windwall could be a champion's ultimate.
Yeah. And then you have Braum Shield, which is like not as bad because at least Braum takes damage.
Well, the thing about it is at least like Braum physically has to like maintain it, right? Like he has to stay there. But he
Yeah.
also Windwall he can place it and then move around, right?
Yeah. And then he can stand inside of it because it's like a fucking, it's like a
Yeah.
house. It should be called like Wind House or some
Yeah,
shit.
pretty much. So here's something that um you're not doing. Whenever the Yasuo dashes at you, you can charm him in his face. It's not hard to do. Think of it as a similar timing to how LeBlanc's, when LeBlanc's kind of W at you.
I always
Think of it
expect
as
him
like a
to
similar
wall me
timing.
after he dashes towards me. That's why I like
Yeah.
always hold charm.
Yeah, you can hold it. But just note that in the early laning phase, I'm talking about like level 1 to 3. If he dashes at you, just be ready to just charm a mid dash. The other cool thing about charming mid dash and is it does interrupt the E damage. Okay.
Oh, so it works like when you stop the Q.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it works exactly like the Q, where if Yasuo is interrupted, he will like the Q damage won't go off, and it's the same way with his E. It's like the only like Yasuo is like the only champion where that like still works.
They probably just forgot. It's such
Yeah.
a fucking horrible matchup, dude. Like this is not like when I see a Yasuo locked in, I'm like, this is gonna be a fun game. And for some reason, he always gets locked in with the Braum, so because they have such good synergy. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
And
I'm
then
literally
Braum
gonna do
Yasuo can't do
fucking
damage. Ah,
can't do anything.
yeah. So here's the thing about this matchup. So remember when I talked about early backing whenever you can in the little Blanc matchup? You do
Yeah,
the same thing in this one. Just grab some Doran's rings. It's right here. You just have to leave. Yeah. Oh.
lazy
So
recall
this is
stuff.
a really bad recall timing. You're forced to do it, but just note that it's bad because you missed the cannon. And so
Yeah,
you missed an absurd amount of XP. I don't know why he took exhaust. I guess to dual Riven in the later stages of the game, but
yeah, I don't know. It ends up fucking me in a couple
yeah,
1v1s. Like he's not good. Like now that I'm 6, I'm like, all right, dude. Like
yeah. You got the power of the triple Dorans.
this shit works.
I
It's
told you,
fucking
right? Like it's
awesome.
not cheese, it's good.
Yeah, it's fucking legit. Like I'm like normally when I play against Yasuo, I'm like, oh, I'm so starved for mana.
Yeah. No, it's just against any AD champion. I think it's like legit the way you should be playing Ari. Ugh. Okay. Let's watch this again. So this is definitely a disrespect of the exhaust.
Yep. I didn't expect him to have it. I was like, this is me not accounting for stuff.
Yeah. Like you definitely would have won if you didn't have exhaust there. Like that's just true.
Yep.
But didn't see it. The other thing you needed to see, the important thing that you needed to know in this particular matchup that you're doing with him, you have the sustained advantage versus him. He only has one pot and a zeal. Okay. Um,
What about
Base,
Doran's?
it's negligible. Like basically, if he gets low, he's not gonna lifesteal enough off of it to make that much of a difference. So when this happens like this, you can all in him with your ultimate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then just take that as a chunk, and now he's got to blow his pot, and it's not gonna be enough. It's just not gonna be able to sustain him. So I would have noted that he didn't take the appropriate amount of health pots, which should have been two.
Yeah.
And I would have played the lane out in such a manner that like went for a sustained fight versus him. So I'd look for poke, I'd look for smaller trades, and then I'd go for like the all in. Because you have like you're stronger than him. Like Triple Dorans is significantly stronger than Zeal.
Yeah. So Riven's dead. And
Yeah.
this is like, yeah, I
Well,
just pinged
Riven,
him. I just
here's
pinged.
the bad thing about this. Um, Riven gets hard countered by Panth, like hard countered, and you get hard countered by Yasuo. You also don't have a ganking jungler.
Yeah. So whoop, here it is. Bang.
Uh, that's just unfortunate.
Yeah, but I mean, like I pinged Cog to like come kill Yasuo. Like, dude, you don't just walk into the lane. He's pushed like, even though he's not
Yeah.
a ganking jungler, he could have done it. And now he walks in and he kills him. I'm like, you could have done that fucking 10 minutes ago, and we would have had the fucking tower down.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. And then again, you have Kog'Maw versus Kha'Zix, so Kha'Zix is just gonna walk in there and kill him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Kha'Zix is an idiot for not just farming in our jungle.
Yeah,
Well, I
that's
mean
all he had to do.
I mean he was top, but like,
Nah, he shouldn't even do his own side of the jungle. He should just walk straight to Kog'Maw's, like for pretty much the entirety of the game. The other reason he should be doing that is because he has all winning lanes.
hmm
So there's no reason for him not to just well, except for bottom. Oh, that's on you. You just got hit by NATO. So he goes for Shiv for some unknown reason.
I guess he played Yasuo like 40 patches ago or something.
Like there are instances where Shiv is good. So for example, in theory, Shiv is better versus squishy champions, like most of your team is. But then he has to realize that he's gonna be dueling a lot this game. Like he's gonna duel the Riven, he's gonna duel the Kog'Maw, so the PD is of much greater value. All right, but let's watch this. Okay, so you're queuing down there, which is good. Boom, nice. I noticed one thing, you're definitely more active about showing up to these skirmishes, and this is really good. So this isn't something I've definitely noted you've improved on, and you can see it makes a big difference that even though the Yasuo is ahead of you, like you showed up to this skirmish first,
hmm
and that's what made the difference. Oh, yeah, this is fine.
They stopped killing the tower though, so they die for it.
Oh, okay. That was a really good flash gem. That was actually really good. It interrupted the Yasuo Q that would have killed the Nami. Feels bad.
Yeah, but if Jinx would have just killed the turret, everyone would have lived.
Yeah. She tried to join in on that when it just needed to be you and Riven.
Yep.
Oh. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
So one thing I think you can play better here. Let's see here. No, that was a good charm timing. She just happened to have flash.
Yeah.
Oh, this is free. There we go. Okay, good. So now you're waiting, which is good. And you don't use the last charge. Nice, nice, nice.
And
All right, so
then I
this
get stuck
composition.
here. I should have just left, but I was like, "Hey guys, what are you doing?"
So in this composition, this is when, a Rallies would have been good, right?
Yeah.
Rallies second, because you're just looking to kite back with your team here. Even though they have a bunch of people you can one shot, this is like this. There's no one else that really follows up on you doing that. If that makes sense, and there's no one to
Yeah.
set you up.
1 second.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm back.
All right. Right. So in this particular game, this would have been a fine rally second game if you were so, uh, inclined to do so.
Get second item, realize.
You could. If my Jinx is fed, so this is okay. But you have to note that like your teammates don't lack damage this game. In fact, they're all damaged.
Yeah.
So your real choice is between doing this. Your real choice is between going Morelos, right? Um, which I definitely would pick up this game.
Yep.
Uh,
That's what I buy.
yeah, I think Morelos is just like pretty optimal. Almost in most scenarios, just because I feel like the more I play Ari, the more I enjoy the early CDR.
Yeah, that bonus AP is really nice too for clearing waves.
Yeah, the bonus it just hits a lot of her like appropriate power spikes. But anyways, so you have two decisions here. So one is to complete the Zanyas, to avoid getting one shot by Panth and and Yasuo and Kha'Zix, and then go into Death Cap. I don't agree with like full defensive builds. Like I don't agree with going Zanyas Rallies
Yeah.
unless your teammates are horrendously fed.
Right.
Yeah, like unless your Kog'Maw and Jinx and Riven is just completely popped off and your damage is just not even needed, then you can do a build like Zanya's Rallies. But in this particular case, where people aren't really popping off and you're needed to still do damage, you have the option of either going Zanya's or Rallies into Death Cap.
Yeah, so here I just grab Morello's and go into Death Cap, I think.
Yeah. I would have chosen one defensive option just because, like I said, there is no front line for you. Yeah, your team doesn't have a front line, so you need at least one defensive item in your first three. So your first three items should include one defensive one. In a scenario where you don't have a tank and you're not a pick composition.
So I came up here to kill Pantheon.
And then
And,
the Panth... Oh. Then
No, he doesn't one-shot me. But I didn't want to fight him in all those minions with Nami low.
I think it would have been okay.
I didn't have...
Let me see. I think you had
Vision?
everything.
No, I don't have ult.
Oh, no, you don't have all. Never mind. You don't have all.
Yeah, that's why I didn't
Right.
fight him. But I came up here just to clear the wave, and Jinx
Oh.
like bitched me out
Oh.
because I didn't stay mid. I was like,
That's on her. She's just in the middle of fucking nowhere.
yeah,
Oh,
so
is
right
she
here.
saying mid to take the tower? There's no way she gets this.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Uh,
But Johnny Yasuo with me no ult, I'm like, I'm not gonna win this fight. Like,
no,
we're just gonna
okay.
lose.
You guys would have gotten the tower, but totally would have died afterwards, regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
just straight up would have died afterwards, anyways.
Yep.
You don't have ulti, so.
Yep.
And there was no knowledge of where, there was no knowledge of where Ka was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like everything about it, I was like, no, I'm just gonna go top. And like this is what I mean.
Someone
Like,
needs to get that wave at top, or Pantheon just takes the tower.
like this
If
game.
anything, what should have happened is Nami should have been mid with you guys, and then if Nami's with you guys, then you could take the tower. But still, or if Nami is with the Jinx, then she would have taken the tower and gotten away.
She probably would have
think
2v. Probably would have won
Yeah.
the 2v2 also.
No, they would have won the 2v2 easily if the Nami was there.
Yeah, but
Easy.
I feel like supports fall. A lot of supports fall into that trap of like,
Oh
why did
my
I back
God, he
off?
flashed
Oh,
though. The
Yasuo.
backside of your orb was gonna kill him, but then he flashed. So that was pretty unlucky. Oh no, you did kill him.
oh,
The
nice.
backside of the orb still hit.
Yeah, I was like, I thought he was dead,
Yeah, no, he died. He did.
and then here I'm just like, oh,
So to me, this is the choice. Like you make the choice between Zanya's into Death Cap. I think that's what I would have done here. I don't think I would have valued their allies too highly here.
I think the game ends like right here or something. Yeah,
I
something
think I would
happened.
have. Yeah, I think yeah. Sonya's Deathcap, Void, Rallies. That's would have been that would have been my build. I think I would have wanted the Zonyas.
Yeah, the more the game went on, I wanted it too. But like, I don't even get to that point. There's 6 minutes left in the game. I think I finished my boots and like did a
Yeah,
fucking large rod, maybe.
we'll see.
Like I probably would have gone Zanya's after Deathcap or maybe after
Yeah,
Void.
I think the order of the Zonyas and the Deathcap is irrelevant. I think I would have gotten the Zonyas over the Rallies, and I would have picked up Rallies late game as my like
Yeah.
luxury item over the Ludens.
Well, there's no way I can afford to go anything less than a fucking Deathcap after this item because of how the game is going.
Yeah, you need to be able to pick. So I think Deathcap is appropriate, and Ludens is wrong here because
Too far
yeah,
behind.
yeah,
And then
too far
against
behind.
in full AD, which is weird. Like I'm far behind, but I'm not.
Oh, you still have kills. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone's just walking around dying here. Boom. Ka sixth. Oh no, Cogmund. Oh, Pantheon. See, look at the skill that's involved with the Pantheon. That's what I'm talking about.
Then he just runs you down because he's got the highest base movement speed in the game. I'm
Pretty
like, well,
much.
I'm gonna waste as much time as possible. Boop.
Bam. Ezreal. Alright, so that's pretty.
Oh, here's
Everyone
another
always
reason
freak.
broken.
Everyone always freaks out about full AD comps when it like hardly matters.
Yeah, it used to matter before they changed like Black Cleaver and shit.
The other thing is that like full AD comps tend to win lane.
Yeah, that's true
So
too. And then
and then
Riven.
and then you have to think about you actually have to be able to stack armor for it to really matter.
Yeah, you have to have a comp that you can stack armor as. Like if you have a bunch of squishy people, stacking armor is just gonna fuck your damage and you're gonna lose
Yeah, it
anyway.
doesn't do anything, right? So even though you guys are efficiently picking up tab bias, like where tab bias is super efficient buy, it's not enough to be like it's not enough to make up for the fact that they're winning, right? You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
the reason why full AD comps are bad is because when they fall behind, they lose
Yeah.
because they're not able to build the penetration fast enough to keep up with the armor that's being built. So that's why people get really salty about full AD comps because if you ever lose the laning phase with it, you generally lose the game.
Yep.
But they have a naturally easy time winning lane, so yeah, here it's just I can't really pinpoint. I think it's just the laning phase you got hit
Yeah.
up too hard. You just lost to the Yasuo too hard in this particular game. I think the things I want to focus on more for your play, um, I think for you specifically, I think the biggest thing was in the mid to late game, just as like a general thing, try and identify your goal a little bit better and stick to it. And remember that your teammates are dumb. Well, not dumb, just unorganized. Like your teammates are unorganized, so don't expect too much of them.
Yeah. I don't
Uh,
like what is my win condition in this game? Like I feel like I'm just trying to stop the bleeding. Like I don't really know how to be proactive in this game.
in this game, what you would have needed to have done was, first of all, not lose your lane as hard as what you did.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem that occurred was you lost your tower really early, which pretty much made it so that it's hard for you to roam without falling farther and farther behind in CS. So
Yeah.
even though you did make the roam plays that were required of you this game, right? Because you're the only one that's able to proactively make plays besides the Riven.
Yep.
The biggest problem that occurred was when you lost the tower, you just ended up losing massive amounts of CS to the Yasuo, and it just put you too far behind and put your team too far behind.
So
So
how
really, it was just playing like you made some like kind of sloppy mistakes against the Yasuo, where like you just got hit by random nados and ulted and died. Which kind of like were unlucky timing, so you hit by those nados as the call was coming. So what it comes down to, at least in this particular game, was just laning phase. You just needed to not lose it as hard.
Yeah, I feel like it's a really hard lane to win. Like
Yeah.
even if he's a mediocre Yasuo.
Oh, it is. So like I said, though, what you have to pay attention to, at least in the early game, Yasuo, is just say, as soon as I have the money for a Doran's ring, do start thinking, how do I recall? Like how like how can I make the wave position itself in such a way where I get a recall off? You don't want to get stuck in a lane against a Yasuo for a prolonged period of time, because the lower your mana goes, the higher his sustain from the Doran's Blade and his runes will just naturally overpower your mana as it ticks lower and lower, and then you get stuck in that scenario where you just lose a big wave, and now he's just massively ahead of you. All right, so that's like the biggest thing. It's just finding an earlier recall timing than what you did. All right.
Okay. Thanks,
All
man.
right, so yeah, no problem. I'll talk to you later.
Later.
Peace.